When is bee winter over? Okay, everybody, welcome back to Whistle Thicket. It's really windy today. Hopefully my audio is okay, but we're doing a beekeeping video here. It is March 7th, I think, March 6th. And we're talking about what everybody wants to know. When is winter over for your honeybees, right? This is important. You got to understand, bee winter is not the same thing as normal winter, people. There's certain requirements you want to verify before you can officially declare that my bees have made it through the winter. We're going to go look at our hives. I am still in bee winter where I'm at, people. I am in the mountains of North Carolina at about 3,000 feet. I have friends that live lower at about 1,500 feet on the edge of the mountains. They are probably out of bee winter. And then I have friends that live up at like 5,000 feet, just an hour or so away, and they are definitely still in bee winter as well. So it definitely depends on where you're at. Bee winter is different for everybody depending on, what state you're in, your elevation. People in Florida don't really have a bee winter, right? But where we are, we definitely are still in bee winter, so let's go talk about it. We are sitting in my apiary right now. I only have a few hives, but I'm expanding, and I think this year is going to be my best and biggest bee year ever. So let's talk about bee winter. When does it end? In order to know that, I think first we got to think about, when does bee winter start? So for me, I say that bee winter officially starts when I don't have any more blooming plants that are, major blooms in my area. So I am blessed that I have a really good fall bloom. The side of this hill behind me is nothing but goldenrod and aster. Those are great pollen and nectar sources for fall bees. So for me, that's probably about the end of October. Sometimes early November is when bee winter starts for me. So from about that point until the end of bee winter, I'm hoping my bees make it through winter. So there's three things that this is just my opinion. If you have any other requirements you think should be part of bee winter, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. But these are my three requirements for bee winter to be over. Okay, so number one, now this is important, we're starting from the start of bee winter. So the start of bee winter is when there's no more pollen or nectar flows, right? So that's the start of it. And these three requirements are what I use to declare that my bees have officially made it through the winter. The first one is I have to have at least two sources of nectar and pollen again. So in the fall, my last two again are aster and goldenrod. And in the spring, my first two pollen and nectar sources are maple and willow. Those are really important sources for me. And this is important. Just because it says in your area and you look it up online that, there's a maple bloom in February, there's a willow bloom in March. You want to verify that you have those trees within a 3-mile vicinity of your house or your apiary. Maybe even a little bit closer than that. I thankfully know that I have lots of both because several of my neighbors have gigantic willow trees. Actually, 4 or 5 of my neighbors, there's some small creeks around here, and we have these giant willow trees. And pollen for maple and nectar for maple, I also know I have lots of those because I harvest maple sap. So as soon as I'm done harvesting maple sap is about when the pollen starts for maple trees. So you really want to verify that you have at least two sources of spring flow going on. I say two because, you know, a lot of people say, you know, dandelions, oh, those are blooming all year. And you really don't want to go on, you know, what's blooming in your garden. Like I have daffodils growing right now, blooming. That doesn't mean it's a nectar source for my bees. I'm sure there's some bees hitting it right now, but it's not a substantial enough source. But trees are great sources for your bees because a single tree might have thousands of blooms on it, right? So that is requirement number one. You need 2 spring flows happening in order to declare that winter is over. But there's 2 more requirements. It's actually, it's not that warm today, people. It's about 45 or 47, I guess, degrees here at Whistle Thicket. And my bees were very active yesterday. It's only about 11 o'clock right now, so maybe they'll come out a little bit. There is a little bit of activity, but let me show you. There is basically no activity today. Don't see no bees. But yesterday, when it was a little bit warmer, these hives were all active. Okay, here is a little activity. I think you may have just seen a bee flying out. So almost zero activity today, even though it's, you know, in the mid 40s. So that, I guess, brings me to my second requirement for bee winter to be over. My hives need to be active for 7 days in a row in order for me to declare that bee winter is over. So right where I live, we may have a warm day in December, January, February. We may have several warm days, and the bees will go out for cleansing flights. There's really not any nectar going on in December and January where I live, but they are active. They're going out for cleansing flights. But those are nice warm days for my bees, but for them to really be active, I have to say they have to be active for 7 days in a row. I know that seems crazy, but really to get out of the winter, that's what I'm looking for. Because if they can make it 7 days in a row, they are finding pollen, nectar, and then the third requirement is my queen is probably producing eggs and brood. That is my third requirement. I have not opened my hives yet. When I say open, I mean I have not opened my brood colony. So for me, I run a deep and a medium. That's my brood colony. I have not opened my colony since Thanksgiving, basically. So what, 4 or 5 months? And I know that's tough for people. You want to look inside your hive and see what's going on, but really you don't need to do that. There's not much you can do in the wintertime. There's not drones out. You can't raise queens. So I have I only have one of my bee requirements so far to get out of winter. And that is that I have 2 sources of pollen and nectar right now, maple and willow. But my bees, even though they're active maybe, 2 out of 3 days, they haven't gone 7 days straight where they're all active, and they are bringing in pollen right now, but right now they're just inside their hive surviving. So my third requirement, again, is looking into the hive and looking for brood and eggs. I haven't done that because my first 2 bee requirements have not happened yet. I'm hoping actually by next week, we're going to have a really warm week next week. I'm hoping next Saturday I can actually open up my hives for the first time. For me, that's going to be about March 15th. For you, that might be later in March. That might be April. Some people, that might be May. So bee winter is different for everybody. I'm gonna open up one of my hives real quick, just the top, to show you my feeder setup. I have sugar for them right now. They have a pollen patty in there, but I have not opened my boxes because that cracks the propolis, and that's not a good thing because that is very important to seal those boxes during the wintertime, right? But since it's still pretty cold at night, it's freezing, that I guess propolis is not going to harden back overnight. But let's go ahead and open up a hive. I hope you enjoyed this video about when bee winter is over. For most of us, it is very, very soon. It will officially not be bee winter, and we'll be opening up our hives. We'll be doing splits, and that's what I'm excited about. I got a few hives right now, but this summer and spring, I'm going to be doing several splits. If you enjoy this video, just like, subscribe, comment, and I'd love to hear how your beekeeping's going.